We are here with Jennie Nedell, who is joining us on MMA Long Island Magazine Video Center, and she's nice enough to spend a couple of minutes before her big fight, which is Glory 33, September 9th, and a big fight for Jennie. So before we start, Jennie, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
So we'll get right into it. How did you get into kickboxing, and how did this all begin?
I really just started just to lose weight, and it was honestly just a way to lose weight. And I was training for about 3 weeks. A promoter who's very well known now, Lewis Negley, had called the gym I was training at and asked if anybody wanted to take a fight. The only problem was I was a little bit of a pork chop and had to lose about 30 pounds in 3 weeks to a month. I did it. Fell in love with the sport. Horrible fight though. If you would have seen me fight, you would have been like, maybe not. Take up something else. And I just fell in love with it. And my dad said, you know, if you're gonna do this, let's get into it and let's do it right. Because I was always into sports. I was a junior Olympic softball player, so I always had the passion of sports. And signed up for my second fight. Got a little bit closer, and I lost my dad a couple of months later in 9/11. And then I actually used the sport as my outlet.
Well, you have a big fight coming up on September 9th, and we know it's a big fight for you personally because you mentioned it's 2 days before 9/11 and your father. How much does that weigh on your mind that it's so close to that day and it's the fight?
Even more. There's so much involved in this fight, more than just the fact that this is my goal to fight on Glory. You know, everyone has their dream. If you're an MMA fighter, your dream is to reach that pinnacle of UFC. For a kickboxer, your goal is to reach Glory or Bellator kickboxing, something along those lines. So to be able to do it to a girl that I originally lost to, one of my only losses, and 2 days before 9/11, it's just, it all came together the way it was supposed to.
So for that fight, what is a typical day for you? Take us through a typical day of training, or no, right now, leading up to a training and, you know, leading up to the fight.
Well, I don't have the luxury of most pro fighters that, you know, where you can come and go, do 2 a day, rest, come in between. I work 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., come right here, I teach the kids class, have privates, and then I'm here until 10 o'clock at night. Saturday and Sundays, I do 3 workouts a day, break it up, just to make sure I get my work in. I won't be out work, that's a promise.
We all know that you are fighting under Ray Longo, who's a big figure on Long Island for MMA, and you are his fight manager and also his only female professional fighter. Tell us how, you know, what that feels like to be, you know, that and fight under Ray.
It's kind of surreal to me, I guess, in a sense, because when I first came over here, I didn't really think that I would get to this point. You know, I left my old gym and just wanted to get better, and I saw Ray, and we just kind of clicked and connected, and from there on out, it just progressed so quickly, taught me things I never thought possible. I mean, he took an old dog and taught me new tricks, so it's just amazing.
You are a New York State Kickboxing Champion. What's that like? You know, not many people can say that, so, you know.
It's awesome, especially because the fact that, like I said, I didn't think I would get to this level. I don't even think Ray really, if you talk to him, Ray didn't think I would get to this level. So, to fight the girl that I actually looked up to and watched fighting my whole career and beat her for the title when everyone thought that she was going to kill me, it was the best feeling I could possibly.
And tell everybody about that experience and who you beat. And
I fought Mona Holland, and she was supposed to walk through me on paper, you know, Strike Force, Bellator, well, I'm here. I'm just this little minion on the bottom looking up at her saying, wow, this is an honor. And to decisively beat her for that belt, nothing better than that.
You have a pretty impressive record, 26-4-1. That's pretty good for anyone's standards. And you last fought in February. Tell us about that fight and what was that like, you know,
February was a little bit
months.
tough because she came in over 10 pounds overweight, so it turned out to be an exhibition. So I actually felt her power, and I was a little shaken, but what you do, you're a fighter, you push through, you have no choice. There's always going to be someone better, there's always going to be someone stronger. It's just a matter of what you have inside of you and if you can push yourself to get to that. Heart beats talent all the time.
We all know that you had a fight scheduled for June, and you were supposed to face now your new opponent coming up on September 9th, Anna Sharier. You lost to her in 2014. You were supposed to have that rematch in June. Now it's happening, obviously, on Glory 2 days before 9/11. What is your mind, going through right now? What is the thought process with all of that, getting revenge and finally having a chance to make this happen?
That's exactly it. It's redemption for me. So I get to prove that I am the better fighter. I had a lot of stuff, not that I'm making excuses, because she was the better fighter that day. Bottom line, she won, but I'm a different fighter now. I'm a different person, inside out, so it's just a different type of push. Everything happens for a reason, and this all came together the way it was supposed to for that reason.
Is there anything, and that was a while ago, that you learned from that fight?
Like I said, I'm a different fighter. I kind of rushed things, and I let her dictate the pace and let her control the ring, and that's not going to happen this time. I'm not going to miss my punches. I'm not going to jam myself. She's going to know she's in a fight this time.
How disappointed were you in June that was canceled?
I was disappointed because she was originally supposed to come. That fell through. They got me a replacement. I sold over 100 tickets. I have kids that I train. I have one of my little minions. She's 8 years old. It's almost midnight. We're still waiting, hoping that this girl's going to show. She accepted the promoter's money. Everything, flew in from Canada, and then didn't show up to the venue. It was, you go through so much in that 6 to 8 weeks that you want an outcome at the end. Yeah, I got the win, but who wants to win that way? I want to fight. So it was disappointing, but it all happened how it was supposed to.
Well, you're going to get the opportunity, obviously, on September 9th. What should we expect from you as a fighter coming into that fight?
It's going to be a war, and I'm going to be a completely different fighter, and it's going to be something to watch, that's for sure.
Tell us what your goals are for MMA and kickboxing personally for you after this fight and the future, just going forward.
Okay. I mean, being the fact that I am a little bit older than most people in this sport, people always say, maybe you should retire, you should, it's time for you to stop. I'll know when it's time to stop. My body will tell me. I'm not stupid. I'm not looking to get myself hurt. I want to, for myself, for my father, for my family, for Ray, who believes in me. I mean, I want to take it as far as I possibly can. And when I'm done, I want to help out everyone underneath me, or has the same goals, or has that same passion. Just give back to what everyone's given to me to help get this sport to flourish the way it should.
Talking about flourishing, Long Island, what are your thoughts on MMA and kickboxing on Long Island as a whole? We all know that it was just legalized MMA that was in March. You're a fighter, you train with a lot of fighters. What is your thought process on just as a whole?
I mean, even look at Chris. I mean, half our guys are in the UFC. A big portion of our guys in the UFC, they get to fight in their hometown. I mean, in their state. That's a big deal. They don't have to travel and worry about leaving their families, and it's just so good for everybody here. It really is.
You personally, what are your hobbies? Just as stepping outside the kickboxer and the fighter. Do you have any hobbies that you would want to share with anyone?
I'm kind of lame. I like movies. I like just hanging out with my friends. I don't have a lot of downtime, so when I do, I want it to be special and meaningful. So things like that.
Lastly, if you could describe yourself as a fighter in one word, what would it be?
Tough. You're gonna have to kill me to beat me.
Jennie Nedell will be fighting on Glory 33, September 9th. We want to thank her very much for joining us here, and of course, good luck on your fight, Jennie.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.